Hello, it's Chloe here from World Have Your Say. Thank you for downloading our podcast for the programme on Thursday, the 20th of October 2016. Well, today's programme was presented by Nuala McGovern. She spent the hour speaking to voters in Las Vegas after the third and final US presidential debate. She was sitting with people in Lee's Cafe in Chinatown, which is a 24-hour sandwich shop, and it was a lively hour as Trump and Clinton supporters clashed over what was said at the debate and what they want for the future of their country. Here's today's programme.
Welcome to World Have Your Say, live from Las Vegas, 12 hours after the final US presidential debate.
I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying.
And that's the line splashed across the cable channels and making the headlines in this town. And it will kick off our show that is live from Chinatown. The city, it's a diverse place with a growing Asian and Latino population. Our guests of different political stripes are here at Lee's Sandwich Shop, open 24 hours. As my cab driver said, it's Vegas, baby. I'm Nuala McGovern, presenting with Carrie Kaufman, a co-production of the BBC World Service and KNPR, the public radio station of Las Vegas and Nevada. I do hope you'll join us. Hello, you are very welcome to Las Vegas. This is our final show of World Have Your Say before we head back to London, many, many miles away. Well, just 12 hours ago, perhaps you were with me on the BBC World Service. The final and third US presidential debate took place between Democrat Hillary Clinton, Republican Donald Trump. Did you watch? What did you think? Well, I have some people around this table that have very strong opinions about exactly what they saw. And I'm not alone in presenting on the BBC World Service today. I have opposite me Carrie Kaufman from KNPR, State of Nevada host. Great to have you with us, Kerry.
Thank you for having me on.
And lovely to have this co-production of KNPR, which is the public radio station of Las Vegas and Nevada. I hear you are a rare bird in this place. Born and bred in Las Vegas.
Born and raised in Las Vegas, and then moved to Chicago for a couple decades and came home because everybody comes home to Las Vegas.
And I noticed your cowboy boots as well.
Yes,
so I'm saying, yeah, we're getting closer to the West Coast. Well, it's great to have you with us. We're in Lee's Sandwich Shop. Now, perhaps there's somebody here who'd like to tell us about this place. It's a bit of an institution in this town. I have Annette beside me. You say there's people know this place, huh?
Yeah, my name is Annette Magnus. I'm the executive director of Battleborn Progress here in Las Vegas.
What does that do?
We're a progressive communications organization who works on issues in Nevada. And yeah, I was born and raised here. I went to UNLV. I chose to make my family and my home here. And so my grandfather and my uncle ran the culinary union here for about 40 years.
Oh,
and
I heard from them yesterday.
I grew up on the picket line and picketing people like Donald Trump. And I'm excited to be here. And yes, Lee's Sandwich Shop is an institution. There's 3 in town, and we're in Chinatown right now, which is a very important part of Las Vegas.
Because this is a population that's growing, Asian in particular, Latino, of course, it has strong roots. We're going to hear from Catherine a little bit later, because the African-American history here is rich, a difficult history as well because of segregation, and she has a wonderful story about a place that she has preserved called Harrison House. Isn't that right, Catherine?
Yes, well, thank you. I'm Catherine Duncan, and I've been wandering in this desert for about 40 years now. And we're proud of Nevada as a state. Nevada has such a rich history in civil rights, being a state that was formed during the Civil War. So we're very proud of our state, proud to be black and in Nevada, but very concerned about the direction that our country is about to take.
Well,
Battleborn. That's where Battleborn comes from.
That's
it
where
was born during the Civil War.
That's our motto.
Okay.
Yep.
Some other people around here, we have people with backgrounds of the Philippines. We have also Mexican background and heritage. Hawaiian beside me here, Mark. Do you want to tell our listeners? Because I said, I met a lot of Hawaiians since I got here. Why is that?
That's because the hotel industry. We have, in fact, it's in the Hawaiian culture, it's called the Ninth Island. And we have a population that flies back and forth. Hawaiians are big gamblers. There's a couple of hotels here that are specifically for Hawaiians or cater to Hawaiians.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did hear aloha quite a lot. I was even down at the Veterans Village the other day for World Have Your Say, and I was learning a few Hawaiian words as I walked around. So it's great to have all of you here. We're going to meet all our guests that are around this table. They They're not a shy bunch, let me put it that way. And we haven't had very much sleep, and we've been up very late with the debate, but everybody is raring to go. So let's start with one of the clips from last night from the debate with Donald Trump and Mrs. Clinton. Chris Wallace was the moderator from Fox News, 97 minutes in total. But let's start with this first clip that is making the rounds.
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
What is he talking about? He's talking about the election result. Would he accept it, was the question that was asked by the moderator. So refusing to guarantee the result that he would accept it. So prompted by the debate host, Mr. Wallace, he repeated his claim, provoking stinging criticism from opponent, Mrs. Clinton.
Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him.
That was the moment that Trump lost the debate. My name is Patricia. I'm Latina. I'm queer. I'm an educator here in Las Vegas, a native. And I'm not the only one that thinks so, even though I'm a Hill supporter. If you look on Fox News, they'll even say that that was the moment that he committed political suicide.
Irma is beside you. Hi, I went down to your lovely restaurant the other day.
Well, thank you. Yes, my name is Irma Aguirre. I'm the owner of El Sombrero Mexican Bistro downtown here in Las Vegas, and I'm of Mexican heritage. You know, I completely disagree that this is a horrifying situation. The problem is that we have to proceed very cautiously right now. Every single day we get bombs dropped from WikiLeaks and every other entities that give us a window of the corruption behind the Clinton campaign.
That's not how the other Fox News viewers see it. They actually see him as being a radical that doesn't respect the traditions of the Republic.
Well, no, actually, what he said, he didn't say that he wasn't going to respect it. He was going to wait and see what happens between now and Election Day, and I think it's smart, I think it's cautious, and I think it's okay.
A lot of people around the table already. A quick response, Patricia, and then I'll move to some of our other guests.
Just saying that a lot of people have noticed that he is basically inciting violence. A lot of Trump supporters have said that if he doesn't win, that they're going to use arms, they're going to revolt.
And a lot of people like myself believe that we are in a situation right now that we have to protect our democracy, we have to protect our country, and this is what we have to do to protect it.
And this is Kerry Kaufman. Violence would be a way to protect
Pardon me?
Violence would be a way to protect the democracy if Hillary Clinton wins.
Absolutely not, and he is not inciting violence or anything like that. This is dramatic. This is just, actually, I think those that say that are the ones that are inciting violence.
If you're just tuning in, you are listening to World If You Say. We are live from Las Vegas. Very good to have your company. The hands are going up around the table here. I want to go to my Hawaiian. Mark.
Yeah, Mark Peveler here. With the Veritas tape out showing that there is paid violence from the Democratic Party, I think it's the pot calling the kettle black. Also, if Trump answered that question, that would be him surrendering. And Al Gore sued with the Bush campaign for this very thing.
So this is Annette. So Al Gore actually didn't sue for this exact same thing. It was hanging chads that he sued for, which was cheating in Florida in the 2000s. What I do know is that
protesting it.
What I do know is that you want to talk about bombs, Irma. A bomb is when somebody actually admits on a bus that he's grabbed women by their vaginas, and that's sexual assault. So we have a presidential candidate who has now admitted he has attempted or actually done sexual assault to women. That is unacceptable. And in today's day and age, we should.
Has raped women.
Bill Clinton's not running for president. I hate to break it to you.
Okay. I'm going to stop for 1 second because, these are allegations by Mark that he is making about Mr. Clinton, not endorsed by this program. Annette and Irma, I know you want to respond, but I want to bring in a young voter that is here. First time, huh?
All right. Yeah. I'm Daniel. I'm born and bred in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Mark's son. And this will be, I think I said it, my first time voting. And I just think the whole question on whether or not Trump will accept the decision by America, it's kind of, what's the point? Why is this such a big deal? I mean, we haven't even had the election yet. We don't know.
You don't think it's a big deal now?
I don't think it's a big deal. He said more controversial things during the debate, and so did she. Why is this the one?
Would anybody like to respond to Mark about why this is a big deal?
Because the media made it a big deal.
Okay, that's Irma.
That's the narrative that they want to paint.
Well, I think it's because we have a proud history in this country of peaceful transitions of democracy, and 240 years of democracy shouldn't be basically made a joke of by someone like Donald Trump. And that's what he did last night.
It's not a joke. Just look back at what happened with Bush and Gore and what Gore did.
Dolly is beside you and chomping at the bit to get in. Hi, Dolly. Tell our listeners who you are.
Hi, Dolly De Leon. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for about 40 years, and I am a very staunch supporter of Donald Trump. In answer to Patricia, you said this is a tradition that a result of the election should be accepted. Of course he's going to accept it. He did not say he would not, but he has to be very cautious in doing this because of what the media has done to them. Don't forget, 90% of the media is so anti-Trump. And
but
this is
the people that are
hold the microphone up and touch there.
Are not just Hillary supporters. They're not just the media. It's Fox News. If you look at the Twitter feed under Fox News,
that is only one Fox News. That's Krauthammer who said that.
It's not just him. So
you're talking about a commentator, Charles Krauthammer, just to put it in context for our global listeners. Go ahead, Patricia,
but
finish your point.
it's not just him. If you look at the tweets, everyone agrees.
No, it's not. No. The media is saying it is
one at a time, otherwise nobody can hear.
Republican supporters, not Hill supporters.
No, the Democrat Party and the liberal media is so responsible for all this anti-Trump.
And listen, I want to move on to a clip, and I want to get you in, Althea, because I haven't heard from you yet, so I'm interested to hear from you. Mark, do you mind holding that for me, sir? Thank you very much. We're in Lee's Sandwich Shop. It's very early in the morning, but already we're quite exercised. 9:16 in Las Vegas. Nuala McGovern with you, and with
Kerry Kaufman from KNPR.
Really good to have your company. Right, we're beginning to get into this, I think, with that very first clip. I want to bring another clip from last night. This is Mrs. Clinton criticising the idea that the election could be rigged and accused Mr. Trump of having a troubling mindset.
He claims the court system and the federal judge is rigged against him. There was even a time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against him.
Should have gotten it.
This is a mindset. This is how Donald thinks. And it's funny, but it's also really troubling.
Althea, tell our listeners who you are and respond to that clip.
Hi, I'm Althea Clark. I'm a psychotherapist and a Hillary supporter. In response to that clip, Donald Trump is losing, and he knows it, is behind the polls. And he admitted it there that he should have gotten the Emmy. So every time things are not going in his favor, it's difficult for him to accept, and he would question it.
I think I was hearing my cab driver on the way here who gave me the great line when I was like, Lee's Sandwich Shop, open 24 hours. Like, it's Vegas, baby. But he said that also, that I think is it the motion picture? I have to get my exact details, but that he's been offered an Emmy if he will step down. Did anybody hear that this morning?
I heard a tweet about that.
Well, let's get into this point, though, that the election could be rigged. Does anybody believe that the election could really be rigged in the United States? Yes, I want to come back to Mark, actually, for a moment. Sorry, Dolly. I'm going to give it to Mark for a moment. Do you mind holding that, Althea? Great. Thanks. Sorry, this is just our microphones.
Mark. With the liberal press, just the liberal press alone, with everybody on the press, generally speaking, I'd say 90% are.
I understand what you're saying about the media, and that has come up, and I should tell people as well, I was in what's called the spin room, place that puts your head in a tizzy last night, after the debate, and people were talking about the media a lot. But I'm talking about going one step further. I understand what you're saying about the media. Do you feel there would be voter fraud? Do you feel there would have been intimidation? Do you feel that, in fact, the polling system is set up in a way that, in fact, is rigged against Mr. Trump?
We have the lists of people that are signed up to vote. We have millions of dead people on that list. So that in itself the fact that we're not going through those lists.
So you're talking about the voter rolls, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get a little context from Kerry.
So are those voter rolls, are those dead people, are people actually voting for them, or are they just people who just haven't sloughed off the list yet?
I've heard reports of that, yes.
And you can
I can't
there's
verify
proof
it,
of
but
Okay, just say your name there as you come back in.
You can Google it. It's been 31 instances of voter fraud in the entire nation.
This is Dolly Gillian. I just want to share this with you all. A few days ago, just a few days ago, it came from the Democrat Party that in 2008, even his own party had said this, that Obama won the election because it was rigged. And this came from the Democrat Party. Yes, it is.
Okay, where did you see that, Dolly?
From news report.
Okay, back to
So
Kerry
my
for a
question
second.
is, how is it rigged? I've been told that all the machines, all the voting machines, are standalone machines, so they can't be hacked. How are they rigging the election?
How are they rigging the election? Look what the liberal media is doing right now, and some reports, and this is not just coming from the Republican Party. That the voting machines. Do you know that 16 states, the voting machines that are placed in 16 states, are owned by Soros, who actually funded spent $33 million.
Tell me, why did Soros, if he owns the machines, why did he allow a Republican-controlled Congress? How come we have a Republican Congress and a Democratic president if it's rigged?
How come? Because they were elected by the people. The reason why we have more people, we have more Republican in the Senate and Congress, because they were elected.
Okay, we're going to leave it there for a moment because I think we've probably gone as far as... But you know what this does, Carrie, which is really interesting, is it brings up the lack of trust that there is on both sides, correct. Right, when it comes to government. That is something that has struck me while we cover this campaign over the past weeks, months, years, depending on how you're measuring it.
You know what? Nationally, we have a lack of trust. I have been talking to politicians in Nevada for the past few months, and I'm struck by the fact that they are willing to work on both sides of the aisle with each other here in this state. But when we're talking about going out nationally, there is a lot of anger, there's a lot of hate, and there is a lot of dysfunction.
Is it different?
On both sides.
Is it different this time?
Is it different this time? You know what I think is that I think that Obama has sort of opened up the racism that ran underneath this country, and I think that Hillary Clinton is opening up the same kind of ideas of misogyny and sexism, and that people are uncomfortable with.
So this is Catherine, and when you say that President Obama opened up racism, he didn't open it up. What he did was...
No, you're saying...
Are you
saying President Obama?
No,
you're saying Mr. Trump.
It was revealed.
Yeah, when he being African-American gave everybody an opportunity to talk about an issue that's been so hidden and so buried in this country.
That's something we can agree on, perhaps.
And we all need to understand that this whole racism thing that's happening is a spiritual conspiracy in our country.
What do you mean by that, Catherine?
Well, people want us to believe that it's black against white. But, you know, we go back 100 years. We know that there were black people who fought on the South against the Union. And there were white people who fought to keep the country together and to end slavery. So it's not black against white. It's just good against evil. And I'm seeing so much good in both candidates, but then I'm seeing so much evil in each candidate, too. And so I agree with Miss KNPR over here that
that's a good name.
Nevada
Can I be Miss BBC?
Yeah. You know, I just want to say that Nevada is a international city. We're more than just an American city because we've got 43 million visitors a year that come from all over the world. So we can't sit and play racism here in Nevada and Las Vegas. We have to be a major peacekeeping city and be an example for the rest of the world. And I'm just afraid that neither of these candidates are bringing about the center, the focus. They're either left or right. We've got no one in the center to bring it home so that we can represent our nation as a formal country.
What does center look like to you?
Center means that we have high moral standards so that abortion doesn't become the lead topic in our nation. we shouldn't even have to discuss abortion if we're raising young boys and girls to live God-centered lives. Why aren't we going to that extreme instead of figuring out how to get them an abortion or not?
Well, you know what? You bring me, Catherine, back to last night, because they went straight in, right? Supreme Court, constitutional, Second Amendment, guns, and then abortion. Such hot-button issues, all within about the first 7 or 8 minutes. Let's play one of the clips from last night. The presidential candidates, they used to use code words to talk about abortion. Not last night. Let's listen.
The kinds of cases that fall at the end of pregnancy are often the most heartbreaking, painful decisions for families to make. I have met with women who, toward the end of their pregnancy, get the worst news one could get, that their health is in jeopardy if they continue to carry to term, or that something terrible has happened or just been discovered about the pregnancy. I do not think the United States government should be stepping in and making those most personal of decisions.
Now, I just want to play Mr. Trump responding on this particular topic.
If you go with what Hillary is saying, in the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me.
So that's Mr. Trump. Catherine, I could see you were visibly disturbed by that clip. Actually, perhaps I'll just get a quick response from you.
Again, the thought that our government would actually have a role in this whole abortion conversation strikes me as frightening. To me, the churches, our religious institutions, have lost their focus. If they're not weighing in on this and taking this whole conversation away from the government, our country is headed toward a serious route that I don't think we want to go there.
Althea.
This is Althea. Well, I agree that abortion should not be a norm. Women should resort to contraception to prevent pregnancy. However, abortion should not even be a discussion for the government.
Doesn't it have to be, though, because there's laws surrounding abortion in these various states, very different as well across the U.S.?
I believe that that's a women's right to make their own healthcare decision, and I support Hillary's pro-choice.
And were you surprised last night to see her so candid? I was. I don't think I've ever seen a candidate this far along or this high in a political office speaking out so candidly.
So this is Annette. I used to work for Planned Parenthood. I actually worked there for 6 years, and this is an issue that's very near and dear to my heart. Women's reproductive health care is a key issue in this election, and it will remain to be. The Supreme Court is up for grabs right now, and that could determine whether or not Roe versus Wade gets overturned.
Which is?
The abortion case in 1973 that decided whether or not women could have abortions in this country. And so, for me, this is a very important topic. It's not just abortion. It's all women access to women's reproductive freedom.
We haven't heard from Reverend Bill Owens. Hi, good to have you with us, Reverend.
I'm honored to be here.
What did you think when you heard those comments on abortion last night?
First of all, let's go back to the history of abortion. Sanger did that to kill black babies because they were considered undesirables.
Amen.
And to kill a baby, and the blacks are hurt more than anybody.
And Latinos.
And Latinos. Because a woman doesn't want that child, and to go right before the baby should be born and rip a child apart, it's sinful.
And so that actually doesn't happen. That actually is a talking point of the radical right.
Let me finish.
Let the Reverend finish.
I'm black.
We'll come back.
And I see what has happened. How many Martin Luther Kings have we killed? How many Dr. Drews have we killed who could have been productive? I was in the civil rights movement. I believed in the Democrats until right here in Nevada when I worked with Ken and Gwen when they were for school choice. We have gotten the short end of the stick on all fronts.
The Reverend,
abortion is
I'm going to
sinful.
give you the last word on this half hour, because actually, would you believe we're coming up to the news already? Sanger, that Mr. Owens was speaking about, Margaret Higgins Sanger, she was an American birth control activist and a nurse, etc., and popularised the term birth control, opened the first birth control clinic in the United States. Listen, stay with us, another half hour to come. We're going to have the news coming up. We want to play more of the clips off the debate last night. We are in Lee's Sandwich Shop live from Chinatown in Las Vegas. Hello, you're very welcome back, perhaps, if you listened to the first half hour, to World Have You Say. We're live from Las Vegas. We're actually in Chinatown in Lee's Sandwich Shop. The reason we picked this place, really fast-growing Asian population in this city. I've met people. Also a Latino population, perhaps you're more familiar with that. And a rich African-American history. So we've brought people, different political stripes, different ethnic backgrounds together to talk about what happened 13 hours ago, almost, in this city. And that was the last final debate before November 8th between Hillary Clinton, Democrat, and Republican Donald Trump. It's fascinating, right? All around the world, people are clicking on it, reading about it, talking about it. The top line we did get into last hour about Mr. Trump talking about whether he would accept the election results. People interpreted it very differently around this table. Just before the news, we were talking about abortion. We played some of the clips that came out. We were hearing from Mr. Owens, who felt that African Americans were affected by abortion. He does not agree with it. He said that he was a Democrat supporter up until this point. So have you changed, Reverend? I'll just get you to hold that microphone up. Are you a Trump supporter now?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Firm.
And what was the issue that turned you?
It's a long history. It didn't start with this debate. It did not start with this campaign.
Oh, really?
It started, I think, last December when I discovered that the Great Society was a hoax to get black women on welfare and put the father out of the home. And the problems that we have now with the prisons being full of black young men started back then when they put the father out of the home, and these black boys were not fathered.
And talk to our listeners who are not familiar with the history of this city and this great state, of what you're talking about there about the father going out of the home. What do you believe was behind that?
It started with Lyndon Johnson, and I didn't know this until December. President Johnson was one of my heroes. If you had been around during that time when he talked about we shall overcome, he was an advocate, and I don't want to take anything from him. He did a lot of good. He got the Voting Rights Act passed. He did a lot of good. But what he did bad was destroy the black community. And what you see happening now across America, and let me tell you.
And what do you feel he did that made that happen?
What he did, it was on purpose. He said, give a Negro, and he didn't use the word Negro. Wow. Give a little bit, and you'll have a Democrat for 200 years. Wow. And we accepted that. We want, if you look at most blacks in the Democrat Party, what are you going to give us? What am I going to get? My food stamps,
but
my
people
welfare.
would say, in fact, there is a history of slavery and segregation, and that it was a people that was incredibly traumatized by their history, and that in fact needed to have some affirmative action perhaps to try and level the playing field and create a more equal society.
I agree with that. Welfare, food stamps should be temporary. It shall not be a lifestyle. And what has happened in the African-American community is repeated over and over. The mother had 5 or 6 children and got welfare food stamp. Then her children did the same thing. And what we did was destroy the black male. I didn't know this, I repeat, until December.
What was it you read? What was it you read or saw that?
The federal government hired 100,000 social workers to go throughout America and to talk black women into getting on food stamps and welfare, saying it was for the child. And Hillary talks about it takes a village.
So, Reverend, just to come back to it, and sorry to interrupt you, but I'm interested in our time that we have. What do you feel Mr. Trump will do for the African Americans of the United States?
Well, there are several things. Number one, the liberal agenda. Obama, as far as I'm concerned, has been the worst president in my lifetime. Yay. You have more division between races than I've seen since segregation.
And Reverend, let us leave it there. I want to come back to Catherine. Catherine, you're an interesting lady who has Harrison House. I want to tell people about that in a few minutes. But some of the points that Reverend is making, you as an African-American woman, what would you respond?
Well, I agree and I disagree respectfully with Dr. Owens on several points. I think what's happening to the black Americans. It's partially some of the same stuff that's happening to white America when we come to our moral fabric in America. America has gotten caught up in sexuality, and all of this misuse of our sexuality is bringing about all the abortions, all of the breakdown of the American family, especially the black family, is the root cause of a lot of our dissension. So that's an American problem, not just a black problem. What I think the issue in America with our black population, it's a lack of knowledge between blacks and whites about who we are as a people and why we're in the condition that we are as a people. It's not because we're black, as our moderators so aptly stated. It's because we are just off the plantation and just out of slavery. And so part of that affirmative action has gone sideways because we have been called everything but what we really are. We're descendants of North American slaves, but we get compared with African Americans, other minorities who happen to be white women and Latinas. And until people understand who we are and why we are the way we are, we were created in America. We were born in America. We're the Native Americans, but we've been put on the back burner and pushed aside because there is a lot of government ideology that says we have to be protected and we have to be cared for and we have to have certain entitlements. And they believe that in order for us to achieve some sort of success, that we have to go back to work and get jobs for white people again.
Let's go. So, may I just two things, actually. You would prefer the term black American?
I am a descendant of North American slaves. So whatever that makes me, I don't know what it is yet, but on my other side, my ancestors were Cherokee Indian. Okay. So I believe I'm Native American as much as anyone in this room.
Let's
I'm Native
go
American.
to the politics of it. Reverend Jones described why he wants Mr. Trump. Who are you supporting?
Right now, I am so torn between each one of these people who want to be president of our great nation. And when you talk about President Obama, and you said he was the worst, in some instances where it comes to foreign affairs and all the wars that we're in, I don't really know what's going on over there. But President Barack Obama gave black America a chance to believe that we could actually achieve to our full potential. He gave us the hope that we don't have to be second-class citizens anymore. Barack Obama is not a descendant of North American slavery, so he cannot even imagine how we feel about this country. His wife does a better job. But he has tried, and he's given us hope. And I would hate to see him leave office and turn it over to either one of the people that are running right now.
You know, you bring up something that's really interesting. Quick line coming in from Reuters reporting Mr. Trump saying, I will totally accept the results of this election if I win.
But back to Mr. Obama. Back to Mr. Obama.
Sorry, Mr. Owens, I'm going to stop you just for one moment because I can see that we're coming to 20 minutes before the top of the hour. I just want to remind people that you are listening to World Have Your Say. This is a co-production of the BBC World Service and KNPR, which is the public radio station of Las Vegas and Nevada. We are broadcasting from Chinatown of Las Vegas in Lee's Sandwich Shop. Yes, we're talking about that debate which took place last night. Interesting hashtags, everything from bad hombres to nasty woman to debate night.
That is the question I have. I want to know what people around this table think of the she's a nasty woman comment.
Let's see, maybe I have a clip for it. Let me just check. Do I have...
Could I finish about Mr. Obama?
Make your point while I'm looking to see...
Mr. Obama, when they asked him, when he became president, what was he going to do for African Americans? He said, I am for all people. I don't just speak for Africa. That's what he said. But he took up the homosexual agenda with a passion. He was for same-sex marriage before he was elected, but he lied to deceive the black people and said he was for marriage between a man and a woman. And he has taken the homosexual agenda to the point that they want to indoctrinate our children in kindergarten.
Well, Reverend Jones, I'm not going to go down that path. I can hear, obviously, with your opinion that it's something that you very strongly disagree with. I know also that Catherine also feels the same way. I can tell from the way that you're nodding your head. I want to go to the nasty woman clip that I just mentioned. So part of the debate that was taking place last night, I was in the spin room. There was a few oohs, ahs, sighs, giggles, laughs at various points. This was one that got a reaction. Let's listen.
And benefit cuts to try to save both programs.
Well, Chris, I am on record as saying that we need to put more money into the Social Security Trust Fund. That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security, payroll, contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund by making sure that we have sufficient.
Okay, so that comment then became a hashtag that then became an internet meme. Carrie, you were asking a question about it. Go ahead.
You know, people keep saying that Donald Trump is a bully. Does he come across as a bully to you when he interrupts Irma to say things like, she's a nasty woman?
Well, you know, here's the thing. He's not a professional politician. He says things that are raw, but he says them to your face. She says them. She just says them behind your back.
Okay, so you would rather somebody say to you, you're a nasty woman?
100%.
Okay.
You know, if you can say pretty woman, why can't anyone say nasty woman?
Okay.
Is pretty woman accepted?
What does that mean to you when he says she's a nasty woman? What does he say?
Nasty woman, just like what the word says, she's being disrespectful.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't it. I think that the misogyny here is just out of control, and I think he loves to spew misogynistic hate. And when I hear Donald Trump speaking, it's everything that I'm opposed to, whether he's saying that women are pigs or fat or slobs or all the other things that he said on record. This is just one more calling Secretary Clinton a nasty woman is just one more thing.
One at a time. And what did Hillary Clinton say about all of the women that slept with her husband?
I don't know, actually. It's none of my business what she said.
It's none of our business, but there was record of her saying many things and her trying to crucify them and trying to strip them of their jobs.
And Donald Trump thinks it's okay to grab women by their vaginas. So this is just more of the same from Donald Trump. He says things that are misogynistic and hateful towards women, towards minorities. And I want to go back to Reverend Owen's point. There's this great thing in this country called separation of church and state, and your religion doesn't belong in our laws. And so we need to make sure, whether it's abortion or gay rights, that we're keeping your religion out of our laws. It has no business in our government.
Annette, I want to go to Althea, actually, and that was just a response. Althea, go ahead.
I agree with you, Annette. Just to make a comment in your last statement, hashtag equal protection under the law.
What about nasty woman?
Separation between the church and the state. Nasty woman has been a trend for him to make statements like that towards women. Like Annette said, there has been a misogynistic statements throughout the campaign. The videotape that surfaced recently from 2005 speaks very much of what he is.
And perhaps I should also, while we're on talking about women and some of the issues, because last night really people were saying if Mr. Trump was to do well, he needed to expand his base, particularly with women. Instead, we're hearing in the news bulletin there a little bit earlier on the World Service that another woman has come forward accusing Mr. Trump of inappropriate behaviour. Her name is Karina Virginia, a yoga teacher, told her story during a news conference with her lawyer, who's Gloria Allred, a famous lawyer. She described the incident which took place at the US Open tennis tournament in '98 and claimed she was waiting for a car to take her home when she overheard Mr. Trump talking to other men, commenting on her legs, and then she goes on to say that he touched the right inside of her breast and that she was in shock. Does anybody want to respond to that latest woman that is coming forward?
Daniel?
Daniel, go ahead. 18-year-old first-time voter.
18-year-old. I'd say that why are you waiting till now? She could have gotten so much money from him over the course of the entire election from keeping it in. And, I mean, maybe she's keeping it as a political advantage to wait till right before the election, but
I think it reinforces the whole idea that he doesn't respect women. That whole nasty women comment, there was a collective gasp at the viewing party that I was at the College of Southern Nevada. And so then when later on he said that no one respects women as much as he does, the entire auditorium broke up laughing.
But what about Daniel, young man, so in generation perhaps more open-minded than previous ones? Maybe I'm generalizing too much here, but that you doesn't really, do you believe the woman?
Believe the woman?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know yet. I just heard about this in this interview.
But you're, yeah, okay. But what's your first reaction when you hear that? You're thinking that she's waiting so long because...
Well, we have to look at the background of Donald Trump. He was a business mogul, and he always talked about how he didn't want to run for president, and I can tell that we might be seeing why now. But he never...
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you see interviews of him in the 80s and stuff, he talked about how he didn't want to run for president, and he wanted somebody else to do it because he hasn't led the lifestyle that would be politically appropriate for the president or for the presidential spot. But he's doing it anyway because he believes that nobody else is doing it, so somebody's got to do it.
In the 80s, they had a film called Back to the Future. It may be too old for you, but
I
they
love Back to
actually
the
based the bully off of Trump.
What was that, Patricia? Sorry, I missed.
They based the bully off of Trump.
Well, I'd say that he uses aggressive tools to win in situations, which, if that's fighting for the right cause, how is that bad?
Well, then is Hillary Clinton a bully? I mean, many other women have described her as such. She's not a kind woman, okay? So she's been very, as Trump said it, she has been very nasty to other women herself.
I'm going to leave it there for one moment.
Climb up to this point.
I want to pivot. If you're just tuning in, it's World Have Your Say. Yes, we're live from Las Vegas. We're in a 24-hour sandwich shop. Why not?
Yes, we are.
It's Vegas, baby. I just love that line. My cab driver dropped me off this morning. Round a table, booth. Very cozy, very comfortable. We've some coffee, some banh mi. This is the place apparently to come for Vietnamese sandwiches in this city. And I want to move to immigration, right? The food here is good. I have mentioned Irma has a fabulous restaurant, El Sombrero, when I was down there the other day. So cute, the whole outside, bright blue, little flowers, and one of the hot spots. Politicians drop by there, I hear.
That's right.
Mr. Trump dropped by there, and a big pushback to Irma after she did that as a Latina. Death threats even.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, let's move to immigration. They do have there are stark differences. We can't say that about the candidates. They're not similar. Let's get into it and hear a little bit about the policies on immigration last night.
Right now, we're getting the drugs, they're getting the cash. We need strong borders. We need we cannot give amnesty. Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords, all of the bad ones. We have some bad people in this country that have to go out. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Bad hombres.
Bad hombres.
Carrie Kaufman from KNPR.
I want to know about what people here think about what we should do about the borders. I'm trying to find agreement among this group. I think that everybody might agree that immigration is an issue. So what are the solutions to immigration? Annette, you want to start and then...
Yeah, our immigration system in this country is broken, and it has been for years. And even under a Republican president, Ronald Reagan, he did nothing about it. He just granted amnesty and passed the buck. We have to do something real in this country. Congress has to pass real, substantive immigration reform. And saying that we're going to build a wall and take 11 million people out of this country, it's just not real. It's not feasible. And it's not who we are as Americans. My grandparents immigrated here from Italy to escape persecution. And I truly believe that we have a responsibility in this country to welcome more immigrants, but do it in a responsible way that makes sense for our country and makes sense for our national security.
And what is Hillary doing for...
Well, if you look at what she's talking about, she's not talking about deporting 11 million people. What she's talking about is true comprehensive immigration reform that does look at a pathway to citizenship that will make sure that the 11 million people here who pay more taxes than Donald Trump are actually going to be able to become citizens and become, American citizens. I have a friend who just became an American citizen last week. I went to his ceremony. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. And that's what we should be doing for this country, is making sure that our people can become citizens and we treat them humanely and not say we're going to build a wall. That's not who we are.
Irma, what is what does immigration reform look like to you?
This is Irma.
For me. Okay, I'm of Mexican heritage, and I was born on a border town, El Paso, Texas. So I know a little bit about what happens on the border. So, Annette, you're fear-mongering. He did not say he is going to deport 11 million people. He said he was going to start by deporting criminals and rapists and any other bad person, and those are to go first, okay? Now, it is my position here, and when I sat down with Mr. Trump, I said, one thing that I ask from you is that you give me a seat at the table, should you be elected president, so that we can discuss what we are going to do with those that came here that are hardworking people, that contribute to our society, and, you know, they're just here to try to get to make a better life for themselves, okay? And he said, absolutely, we will absolutely discuss that. You know, he's a very compassionate man. You know, the person that is portrayed out there, well, you didn't meet Mr. Trump, so you really don't know him, okay?
Just, I'm going to stop for 1 second. Patricia, give a quick response there.
Yes, if she can't, if she's
Irma?
saying that, Irma, if you're saying that he didn't say that about immigrants, that he didn't say about building the wall, just roll the tape, Google it. You can see it on video.
I'm not talking about that he did not. Okay, again, you don't listen to what we are talking about, okay? And this continues to happen in the media, all right? Quit twisting my words. Of course he said about the wall. And you know what? Guess what? There are a lot of Latinos and a lot of people of Mexican heritage that are here in this country that believe that a wall should be built. Okay? I have family that work for Border Patrol. Okay?
I have met Mexicans that have said, some people accuse, and it's Mexicans more in San Diego where I heard this, that they didn't want more Mexicans coming over, but people accuse them of pulling the ladder up behind them. You've heard that phrase, right?
I understand that. I completely understand that. Okay, but that's not what's happening. Well, it's not a funny conversation. It's actually very serious.
That's Althea and Catherine that are laughing.
There's nothing funny about it. Okay,
finish your point, Irma, and then we'll continue.
Seriously, no. We have to acknowledge that we have to have a system that is logical. Okay, and we do have to have borders. That it is absurd to say that we're going to have open borders, you know, and this has nothing to do with being racist against Mexicans.
Okay, let's get a
Mexican heritage.
Althea, respond.
As an immigrant
from the
who
Philippines,
came here legally, I am not in favor at all of illegal immigration per se, and I do favor stricter immigration laws. However, we do have existing immigration issue, and we cannot just...
Can I go back to last night? For example, he says it's really unfair, people that skip the queue, people who have been waiting. And I do believe you can wait about 20 years. I was hearing from the Asian Journal the other day, if you have, and it was particularly Filipino, they were talking about if there's this backlog to actually have a family member come join you. If somebody comes illegally, do you feel they should be sent back? Or what about the people who are here and that are not documented? And there is a whole word over documented and legal and illegal.
It is true. It took us 20 years to arrive here. We were petitioned in 1972, and we didn't arrive here until the early 1990s. But my point is the existing immigration issue is that we have a lot of existing families, children who were brought here when they were very, very young. You cannot just brought them back to Mexico.
So what should happen to them?
There should be a path to citizenship for the existing immigrants at the moment. There's 11 million undocumented immigrants.
It is such a huge country, such huge immigration. Looking at the figures, this might be interesting to our listeners. The Asian is actually the fastest growing population in this area. When you get into the details of demographics, you know that you have Asians more likely to vote perhaps Republican previously because of strong conservative religious backgrounds. They'd be like a model Republican perhaps, but that they are now moving more Democrat. But I love all that stuff. If you're a political junkie, maybe you do too. You're listening to World of Your Say from the BBC World Service and KNPR. Carrie Kaufman and Nuala McGovern with you. Last couple of minutes. I just want to talk about, we've heard a lot about the divisions that we have here in this community and, you know, the politics that we've heard. But what's it like to live in this town? This is Las Vegas, Nevada. Daniel's hands, fires up. I want to know what it's like to be 18 years of age and in Las Vegas. You can't drink yet, though, right?
No, can't drink yet. But I've wanted to say this a couple different times. I'd like to just give us some background on the Henderson High School community. And my whole schooling life, Henderson and Las Vegas are really like a cross-section of the whole United States. And
that's one of the areas just where we are, yeah?
Yeah, and I've been always exposed, well, exposed makes it sound bad, but I can't think of another word, but exposed to interracial relationships and everything, and it's just normal. That's what we call it here.
Yeah. So for you, you know, you see the manifestation of immigration and it's second nature?
Oh, I wouldn't say, well, maybe immigration, but I mean, we're all technically immigrants. I don't know too many Native Americans, so...
you know one now, Katrin. It's just better.
No, I'm saying here. No, what I want to know, Daniel, is are there people who go to your high school who have come here from other countries?
Oh, yeah, there's tons. And Las Vegas is like a magnet for people moving from all over the country and all over the world. And so I've just wanted to say that.
Well, I want to go over to the person who is part Native American. I want to tell in our last minute about Harrison House, this house that you preserved. Who lived there? Who stayed there?
Well, this house is important because it serves as a remnant of what things were like in America when we were totally segregated. And so for me, my parting comments would be, as a Native American, we're all sisters and brothers.
And can you tell who stayed actually at this boarding house? Because people won't know it.
So Harrison House was listed in the Negro Motorist Traveler's Guide in 1949. It was a place where blacks were welcome to live during a time in America's history when the country was totally segregated. Blacks and whites were not permitted to be together in a public setting. So Harrison House is one of the places where people like Sammy Davis Jr. and Nat King Cole and Pearl Bailey and all the great artists who could afford to live at Harrison's guest house lived in the 40s and 50s prior to
segregation.
Yes.
And my producers went to look at it, so it's a credit to you that you have managed to preserve that. I just want to thank all our guests for giving us such a lovely welcome here to Las Vegas, sharing your opinions, being so candid and frank and respectful of one another. And let's see what happens. Maybe we have a chat after November 8th and November 9th. We're actually just coming, but Catherine, it's so good to have you on. I know, there's so much to say and so little time. But that's it for World Have Your Say and this edition. And I will be leaving Las Vegas by the end of the day. Thanks for your company wherever you've listened to us from Las Vegas.